Welcome to 12 Days of Stocking Stuffers, my new sewing series where I'm showing you cute, handmade, easy items to make that you can use to stuff stockings this holiday season. Today we're making coasters and you're gonna need two 6-inch squares. This tutorial makes two coasters. You're gonna double this or triple it depending on how many coasters you want. So I have two 6-inch squares. I'm gonna put them right sides together and get them really nice and lined up. And then I'm just going to draw a diagonal line like so across. And then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on both sides of the line. You're not gonna sew on the line. You're gonna line your presser foot up with that line and sew a 1/4 inch down both sides like so. Then you're going to use your scissors and you're going to cut that line that you drew. So you should have a seam on both sides and you're just going to cut down on that line and then you'll have two pieces sewn together like this. Now we're going to do the exact same thing. So open these up and you're going to put opposite fabric to opposite fabric so that you have a nice pattern. Get it nice and lined up, and then again we're drawing a diagonal line here, and these are right sides together, and then you're going to sew a 1/4 inch on both sides of that diagonal line. And you're like, oh my god, this is a lot, but just trust the process, okay? This is way easier than cutting out all of those triangles and having to piece them together. I promise it's easier, you guys. So once you've got a 1/4 inch on both sides of that line, again, you're gonna cut on the line that you drew, like so, and then if you've trusted the process, now you have this. How cute, right? And it took like no time. So I'm just clipping all of the extra off of my corners to square it up really nice. And then I've just got some scrap batting here that I'm gonna use to quilt these. And you can quilt these however you want. I quilt all of my things pretty much the same, just down the seam a little bit, but do whatever kind of pattern you want. Once you've got all of the quilting done on these, go ahead and trim your batting down so that everything is nice and square. And these will be 5-inch squares. You could totally put these two pieces together if you wanted, but I'm just gonna use a plain backing. So I've cut an additional 5-inch square of fabric out and I put it right side together, and then I'm just going to sew a 1/4 inch around and I'm gonna leave a gap at the bottom so I can flip it right side out. Once you've done that, clip your corners so it turns out really nice and then flip it through that opening like so. I'm using a crochet hook to poke out the corners. And then you guys always ask me about the opening, so I'm showing you here. There is an opening here. You have to tuck in your seam allowance so that it's flat and straight and even with the rest of your project. You guys asked me about this on my pot holder, so hopefully that helps a little bit. I'm just doing an 1/8 inch top stitch all the way around to finish this up. It's gonna close that hole and it's gonna give us a nice finish. And these are all done. A really nice but easy project. You can just tie these up with some ribbon, throw them in a stocking. Let me know if you try it.